What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk to you about NIO. I want to go over some of the data points, break it down what's really moving it, and go over everything else that you need to know. But first, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So NIO is up 1.56%, 485 the low, 497 the high, and during the pre-market it was top 10 most heavily traded stocks, so definitely a lot of big money was paying attention to it. Kind of level ground from where it is right now, but with the market being open about 40 minutes, 9.5 million shares being traded, 68.8 is the average. And if we kind of just quickly pop over here, I've started to look at kind of the overview and the flow, and so you can kind of see just this right here. So the smaller fish, a lot of people always assume that is retail, but that's actually algorithmic trading. So it does look like the algos are trying to suppress NIO. So interesting kind of thing, because it does somewhat contradict this. So shorts at the time of doing this video, they're increasing roughly around 134,000 shares. So not all that much. So normally, given the circumstances, NIO shorts would be like doubling down like 1+ million. So the fact that they're being rather timid is optimistic, I guess, indirectly, but 12.39% of the free flow is being shorted, works out to be 191.15 million shares overall being shorted. On a macro standpoint, there hasn't really been any data points to justify this green day. Rather, it is more specific to NIO. So a couple things did come out. So NIO is kind of looking at expansion. So they did disclose that they're going to be going to Singapore and various other places by 2025, 2026. So kind of interesting. Doesn't seem like there's any rhyme or reason to these three, in my opinion, but well, it is what it is. Clearly NIO must be doing it for some purpose, and that's something that they've really started to do, because about a quarter ago they mentioned that they were going to be really slowing the expansion within Europe. They started to do some layoffs, and so it looks like they're kind of doing a different pivot. So it would be nice if they actually did bring this up in their last earnings and gave this level of clarity on why they might be doing alternate kind of expansion, but still, nonetheless, this is new information that did come out. In addition, there was this, so the top selling EVs above 68.4 between January and July, and yours truly was number 3, so the ET9. So pretty good to see as far as that, but unfortunately that's it for news. That's aside from what I've kind of previously brought up in previous videos. But aside from all that though, looking at the options, 719,000 in calls, 233,000 in puts. So definitely a lot of volume is getting and will be getting into NIO through options today. 46% of all the options being done are bullish in nature. From the bull standpoint, you see a consensus for it to be roughly around that $5.50 to $6 range. And I think a lot of that optimism is because of the weekly registration numbers. And interestingly enough, I guess in my video yesterday where I go over some expectations, I somewhat missed bringing up the reservation numbers, because this will be a very big week as well, because a lot of people will be looking at the L90 numbers and comparing it to last week, because that kind of caused the market to freak out last week. So we'll kind of wait and see, but there is a certain level of optimism, as you can kind of see from this. Bears are kind of betting the opposite is going to happen, that potentially the numbers might be negative, pushing it even sub $4. So that would be kind of extreme if you ask me. But nonetheless, a lot of good transactions so far on the dark pool as well as secondary market. Right now with it at 488, trading between this R1 and the pivot. I'm looking at the 4-hour chart on a side note. Normally in the past, I like to bring up the 1 day because it has very strong support and resistance points. But for this, if you're day trading or whatever else, just kind of watch for this. So 473 and then 448 is going to be the support levels. Flip side, 497 is going to be that next strong target / resistance, and it kind of did bounce off of that. So we do know that's a good kind of strong resistance level. So definitely NIO needs to really move higher and hopefully not get continued to be suppressed by shorts as well as algorithmic trading. That's one thing that's always plagued NIO for a very long time. So as I've mentioned, definitely sign up for Moomoo. There's a lot of good promos going on, but I will be doing a dedicated video associated to algos. So you can kind of set up your own algorithmic trading, very unique, because a lot of brokers don't really do this. You can make it as complex or as simple as you want. So I'm going to be doing a dedicated video probably by Friday all about this and how you can kind of set it up. So if you're wanting to kind of be one step ahead of the game, sign up for Moomoo, link in the description below and also the comments. But ultimately you do get a pretty good return in general. So just deposit $100 and they give you $50 back. But aside from everything else that I did bring up, there hasn't been any crazy news associated to NIO, no new analyst ratings. There hasn't been any changes to even the forecasted upcoming Q2 numbers, which technically have not been announced yet on the date. So right now we're kind of just waiting with anticipation, because that could be as well another very big catalyst on just what NIO has for the foreseeable future. You can kind of see just generally looking at the earnings per share, analysts are optimistic. So the estimates seem to be that they are going to improve. Looks like Q1, not so much, but aside from that, even the revenue, a nice continued growth. So let me know your thoughts on NIO in the comments below. Do you think it's going to be pulling lower? Do you think it's going to go higher? What's your general thoughts on NIO? And then one final thing, if you are looking for some solid buy signals on stocks, options, crypto, pop over to my Patreon. I put them out every single day, and many of which have already hit, such as this one right here called 1280 the low, instantly kind of bounces off of that. Oscar Health, this is something that I mentioned at 1540 was a buy, so that one was a solid so far swing trade. Even Enphase, a lot of them have hit my marks, so definitely worthwhile to kind of pop over there and take a look. With all that said though, appreciate all of you watching.